the Sylvia Career Podcast, where we have conversations that matter. The last time we had a conversation here, we spoke about self sabotage, and we were having a conversation with my friend Kaleche. And a lot as it has generated a conversation that we would like to continue. So today I have Kaleche back in studio to continue the conversation. Welcome back, Kaleche.
Thank you so much. I'm glad to be here.
Awesome, awesome. The last time we had a conversation, Kaleche, there was a particular one that really attracted a lot of attention, and questions have arisen from it. Like, why should I communicate to my HR when I have an issue and I cannot wake up, I am sick, and not directly to my supervisor? That's the part that we want to speak about as we continue.
Yes, key to remember is it's a tripartite it's a tripartite relationship.
Yes.
When you tell your supervisor, the supervisor is supposed to tell the HR, but there's nothing that's really stopping you from going directly to the HR. You are allowed, especially if you have complexities with your supervisor, it is allowed. So it also depends on the organization.
Okay.
Some organizations require that you go to your supervisor first. Those are functioning organizations, by the way, the ones that have very good structure. You go through the supervisor, HR becomes like a second in the person you tell the second time. The other idea is that the HR should advise the supervisor that no, this is a worthy cause. This person can't make it to the office, so it's the HR to remind the supervisor to remain human.
Okay.
And also to remind the supervisor of policy if need be. So it just depends on the organization. So it's either or. It's also tripartite. Write to your supervisor, copy in the HR, or either way, anything works. Just make sure you communicate.
Awesome. Yeah. So we are not saying that your supervisor should not be communicated to, and we are not saying HR should not be communicated to. True. It is important that both people are in, have the same copy of the information, that they are at par. Yes. So that was something that really caught my attention after we spoke that. And of course, you were talking about how HR is a human being just like you. And basing on the conversation that came up also was congratulations to Kaleche, you are bringing the H to the resource. Yes. And that begins part of our conversation today. And we see that there is a shift on how HR is moving from an admin role to a strategic role. What's your thought on that?
So HR is moving into people and culture. They're moving into engagement officer. They're moving into talent management. So all these are contemporary issues in human resource. So it is a title, yes. But now we started from personnel manager years ago. We were personnel managers, then it came to human resource managers. Now we have people and culture managers. We're moving to HRBP. We have moved to... So it is just, what is it called? It's just an evolution of sorts, an evolution of a profession. Okay. Because now the HR is required to think wider. They are required to be the business partner. They're supposed to understand where are we getting our profits and losses. They're supposed to sit at the table and inform strategically what we are doing. So I know many organizations, when they're doing their strategic plan, they don't include the HR. That's a big mistake, because now how do you talk about staffing? How do you talk about succession planning if the HR is not at the table? So that's the movement. The HR now is supposed to be agile. They're supposed to move with the organization as it evolves as well. They're supposed to also move into the age of AI. Okay. Yeah, we are there. We're supposed to also move with the time and understand what is happening. And then it's also a continuous process. I know in many professions, there is a CPD, continuous professional development. Yes. In HR, there is. The IHRM is doing good work, led by Madam Kwaresha, the ED. Recognition of these additional competencies is a plus. Awesome. You need to continue learning. You need to continue evolution. If this is evoluting, you need to continue growing in the profession, and there's no any other way. You cannot be stuck in the past where personnel management was the thing back then.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. So these are interesting times. So what skills does HR need now?
Yeah.
An example, what are you telling to a person who is just joining the HR profession for the love of the people? Because there are people who they could have pursued other career pathways, but midway they realize that they will do better working with people.
Yeah, I think
What
that's
skills
me.
do they need?
Yeah, that's my story. Doing IT and then suddenly switching to HR.
Yes.
It's my story.
Yeah.
One thing for the HR is that you need to recognize that when you're doing policies, you're not
Yes.
doing it for the people.
Yes.
Put yourself in that shoe. If you're putting a policy for redundancy, I've been known to do that where I thought, okay, the organization should have planned way before if they had foreseen there would be redundancies in a few months' time. Just make the policy on redundancy hurt the organization, not in a bad way. Like they need to rethink strategy before they rush to do redundancies or they need to, dismissing staff.
Why do you think so? Maybe we can talk a little bit more about that.
Redundancies, the many cases in court. I'm not a lawyer, of course, but I read through case laws. Many cases in court are for redundancies that have not been handled well. These redundancies are, for example, where it is seen as though it was like a fight, like a malicious intent. I've had a few examples. Of course, I can't share the details, but I've had 2 or 3 examples of redundancies that were done with malicious intent. One, just responding blanketly where somebody was transferred to another region. But that region was not their strong point. You can imagine, like for me coming from Ukambani, then I'm taken to a place where, say, Ukambani is drought. I'm taken to a place where there's plenty. And I'm not able to maybe, in terms of the weather, I'm not able to acclimatize to eat. So, of course, my performance will start dropping. I'm far away from my family, from my children, from my siblings who are the support system. So these things now you bring them to work and then it affects your performance. Then that one becomes a reason for you to be terminated. Why I'm saying that terminations and redundancies must have an impact is they should be the last recourse. Organizations need to check on the fine line. Why do we need to do this? Why is it a must? Why is it, what alternatives do we have? Can we take this person for psychosocial help? Can we take them to another branch? Can we reassign them duties? Can we put them on a performance improvement plan? So it is just to reconsider everything before now you terminate the staff. Just make sure you have covered your bases. Yes.
So I think then that part of policy making is what makes people the notion that we actually talked about in our previous podcast that people know and discuss out here that HR is not your friend. It is a friend of the company. It's there to protect the company and not you. So could we talk about it a little bit more on that note? That do you think, is it hearsay or there's some level of truth to such a statement? Because it looks like it's widely spread that many people are believing so that by the time I'm coming to HR, I already have a prejudice that I am going, yes, but I know there is nothing that is going to, they're not going to help me in any way because they are not for me, therefore
for the organization.
The organization, yes.
Yeah, so that one is it's a thought and it's true. Even if you would ask me, I'd say that. Sometimes I'd say that.
Yes.
But what appears as prejudice is usually HR needing to implement policy.
Yes.
So, of course, you can be told to terminate somebody, but what does policy say? Even if you as a HR, you're doing that policy, I've already mentioned it, where, think of yourself in that policy. You're not doing it for staff. You're doing it for also yourself
as a
and
person.
Even the top echelon in the organization.
Yes.
When it comes to termination, let them follow policy. When it comes to disciplinary grievance handling, let them follow policies. I've done policies, I think, my entire working career. And it has become, it's usually a source of, you do a policy, but then you also get people to, to also take a look at it. I remember there was an organization I worked where I did the policies after I joined, and then I sent to the management team to review before I sent to my supervisor. But you see, when it went to my supervisor, she knocked off a number of phrases where she felt that it wasn't it wasn't fair for the employer to implement. So, but at some point I told her, and believe me, I got into trouble for telling her that, you're knocking this off, but it can also impact you.
Yes.
Put yourself in this shoe. And then there are some things also that are a form of assumption. The HR, yes. And I had mentioned it. It's like you're walking a tightrope. You have to balance each side.
Yes.
For the people, for the management, you have to balance.
All right.
So unfortunately, both sides of this tightrope might not understand. Of course, the employer might tell you, now you're people's person, you're not implementing our agenda. But the staff would say, you, because the employer told you to do this, you're doing this. And for HR, I'd want to also reiterate that it's a very, very lonely profession. Because, for example, you are implementing a termination.
Yeah.
This person, you have taken them through all steps, procedures, policies.
Yes.
And then when you finally terminate, of course, this person is for the people. When they go and share that they've been terminated, the people would not want to know the reasons.
Yes.
But the HR is not in a place to share exactly what happened. I think I had mentioned it last time where I'd said somebody had done a really bad email. We made a proposal to them, for us to continue working. Please do this, do this, do this. He wrote a really bad email. Said he rejects everything and he... we are not treating him equal to other staff that were expatriates in the organization. So yes, we have the emotional bit of it. Actually, I was angry because I'm thinking, okay, this guy, I know his living situation. Why doesn't he just accept this proposal? So when he refused, and he did so in really strong and kind terms, the only option the lawyer had advised, do a redundancy, just terminating. And we did. Even though it hurt because it was something that was something that we would do something about, if he only listened, if he put his pride aside.
So that means there is it's a give and take, a trade-off.
Yeah.
Like, yes, we have seen 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your side of the bargain, and however, we are willing to negotiate up to this point.
Yes.
But if you cannot get to a compromise, both of us, then it becomes very, very difficult.
It becomes very difficult.
All right, and the way you said there are so many cases of redundancies, does it mean that we as people that are in HR are not up to date with what is happening? Are they not updating themselves of the consequences? Because definitely when a redundancy lands in court and the conversation goes on, HR is going to be blamed for it.
Yeah, HR is going to be blamed for it. But I'd want to say, for example, this redundancy I did, this guy, we couldn't give him notice. He was too disgruntled, too angry. We even would see him walk into the office and would feel, okay, he's agitated. So we paid for that notice period.
Okay.
But when he went to the lawyers to sue or to just do a demand letter, they demanded for notice. That because he wasn't served notice, is demanding this amount of money. But on the documentation, he was paid that notice because it's in lieu of notice.
Yes, it's lieu of notice,
so you
yes.
either serve notice or you're paid off because you're disgruntled. Like, we are not sure what you'll do to our systems and processes. So many HRs know the law. They know Section 44 of the Employment Act. It talks widely about how you terminate, how you... And the redundancies are covered in that section. I don't know whether it's in that section or a different one. But there's always something the lawyer will find. There's that something. And then when it comes to many organizations, they'd want... pay him off. You don't want to go to court. Just
you don't
pay
want
off.
many stories.
Yeah, just
you want to
pay
end
off.
it. Yeah.
But there are those cases where, no, we will not pay off. We will go to court. So even if you do it well, how well, it would still be subject to scrutiny. Because this person that you have let go is disgruntled. They're angry. You have cut off their life support, their income. Of course, they will be angry. But I know, when you go to the labor office, Chinyayo House, here in Nairobi, you will present to them that this is our intention, this is what we need to do. And they will accept and stamp the document. And you will go and now do another letter, attach this one for the labor office that has been approved, and start the redundancy processes. but still, there is that one thing that somebody will not follow. Especially for me, I support staff across Africa, and I've done globally. But I can assure you, Kenya has one of the strongest labor laws. I think if you want to hire a HR, you can hire Kenya. Because
a
we
good
have one
thing.
of the strongest labor laws in the world. Of course, we are guided by the ILO, but for that HR that has gone through the process, they know the law. They know this is what they need to do. But trust me, even if they go to court, something will be pointed out. Case in point, USA, when the US government withdrew the funding,
Yes.
there were so many cases of people being let go. I've not heard of any case that has made it to court. But in a situation like that, you probably had not made provision for redundancies. How are you going to cover yourself? It cannot be good vibes to staff members that are losing their income.
Yeah, true that.
How do you cover yourself? So sometimes you might not know a way out, what you want to do. And I think it's because of such issues like the US government, where many people have done short-term contract, like 1 year, you're told 1 year renewable. But still, when you're told 1 year renewable, you have promised. You can just give 1 year. Don't say 1 year renewable. Because when you say 1 year renewable, this person has some expectations.
Yes.
And if you're not able to meet, then they will end up in court.
Interesting. That's a very... So that means in as much as you are doing the HR, you really need to be up to date. What's happening in the country?
Yes.
What does the labor law says? So that's a skill that many HR need to be up to speed with.
Yeah.
What other skill is it that it's really important? Because I noticed there was a conversation that I think I saw on social media in the recent past, that HR function is really evolving, and many people are afraid of losing their job.
Yeah.
What skill does an HR need to keep polishing on so that they are not left behind?
Okay.
Yeah.
I was in a conference in August. It's called GCHRA. And the head of SHRM, SHRM is Society for Human Resource Management. It's international. It's like a certification. The CEO said the HR needs to be the CEO's confidant. That's one. But you see, it's not easy. Yeah, because of course, sometimes you even have people in between. It's not easy for even you as a HR to access the CEO.
Yeah, true that.
But that confidant is key. That's one way of really just getting yourself in there. And it's not the confidant that I mean is not professional. It's the professional one. Be the one that the CEO can confide in. Because, the CEO, it's also lonely at the top for the CEO, but now who do they talk to? So that confidence is key. Then agility. Get to understand what each department does. I cannot be asked as a HR, what do you think the ops manager does on a day-to-day there? But I can't explain. I've not seen their JD. I don't know what they do. What do you think this team that does pre-projects? I'm using my current employer. We have projects team and pre-projects. What do you think they do? So you're struggling in there to also understand what is their mandate. Yes, they're doing this, but what does that mean? Like, how do we explain what your organization does? And I get asked that question a lot because it's an organization that, now it's regionally Africa-wide. And then it has concepts that are not common in Kenya. In fact, when I joined, I also realized some professional angles. I can advise people who are doing, before they join university, pick this because it's marketable. Understand what they do.
Okay.
When you get into for us, we do team meetings. You see how organizations do that. It's only managers who meet, or our CEO puts us all in one meeting, and we have like an hour and a half, 2 hours to discuss about what's new, what's current, and everybody gives their update. Actually, everyone gives their update, regardless of whether you're a manager or not. That's a good strategy because now I'm learning what this team is doing. As a HR, I know now, okay, why are they not doing their performance appraisals? Because now I understand that their targets are not easy to guess or to, So be that HR that is agile. Just get in get in, like, dig through. Do not just be the one who ignores something that is happening.
Okay.
Celebrate the wins if they are there. Celebrate not really celebrate the losses, but understand why we are calling this, why are we disappointed as an organization? Why is this not working? In the NGO space, also understand the donor to read up, understand what is happening in the donor world. In terms of recruitment, I had somebody had called for an interview and she declined. She declined and said that, I have researched the organization. I've realized you're being funded by this person and this person supports this army. This army is the one that is causing war in Gaza. And I respected that. So those are the things that I'm saying about how the HR needs to evolve. So I respected her. You don't just say, you don't also lose your temper. We are also getting people that are negotiating extra loudly for their salary.
Absolutely. I coach them to do the same,
For the past weeks, I've had two.
Yes.
One finally said, no, I'm not taking the offer. But we had to go back to the drawing board and re-advertise. And he was apologizing, I'm sorry, but this is not, it's not suitable for my family. My country is overtaxed. And I told him, I actually understand and I'm learning from you. And I will start bothering my supervisor for a salary increment because you have shown me how best to do this. The other one, we are still on course. I'm still also trying to pull her in. But she's not a staff. She's already in. She's doing the work. So those are some of the things. And then how people are just structuring even their salary requirements. They're thinking, okay, people are no longer negotiating on gross. They're saying, I want a net of 50,000. Please give me a net of 50,000.
Thank the coaching industry for that.
Exactly. Because you as coaches, you have taught us to value ourselves.
Exactly.
I've actually even learned from you from the launch, value myself. So we are seeing a lot of that because people are thinking of the end game in mind now that there's this taxation. Let me negotiate on the net.
Yes.
And then there's the emergence of AI. I do not see a future that HR is overtaken by AI. I think that's why we are doing this podcast, because I want to tell people, please, your HR is your friend.
And it's your
Don't replace them with the AI because they have emotions. They are people. And you want to come and sit down with somebody and do the work. Of course, there's some levels of the contemporary issues in HR that have already been taken over by AI, and it's doing awesome work.
Nice.
When you're doing talent development, it's done by AI. When you want to identify the high potentials, hypos or people that are struggling, performance management is online.
Yes.
We are applying leave online. We are doing performance management online, but without the human interface.
Yes.
It is not going to work. So AI plus the human interface is a powerhouse.
Yes.
So that's a new thing that that we are going into, and the HR also has to grow into it.
Okay.
There are these things that we are using ChatGPT to find the confession. I'm using it.
We are using
like
AI.
that random question: how is tax in Botswana?
Yes.
Because if you read up on it, then maybe you can miss a thing or two. Or we are using Copilot in our meetings.
Yes.
So we are using all these AI tools.
Yes.
You have to learn how to use them. Even in the trainings the HRs are doing, they have to evolve into the new order of working.
Exactly.
So those are key items of how the HR needs to evolve.
Awesome.
So I had mentioned agility, AI, be a confidant.
Yes.
And understand the business. Be the business partner. Understand what is working, what is not working.
Awesome. Recently, I just saw a company. I'm not going to say which company it is because I didn't tell them that I'm going to speak about it here. I saw they were launching a new thing. And I noticed HR was with the development team, product managers, all of them, all night to the time when the new platform was going live. And I thought that is very powerful. And that speaks to what you were saying, that HR really needs to be in support with the business, not what the business is doing. And when you bring your human, that I will not be sleeping at home in as much as I have arranged that you have transport and all that, you'll be okay just in case of anything you call me. We don't want the calling. We want you as a person.
Yeah.
I think for me, that was a very beautiful thing. And it has actually demystified again. HR is not your person. If the HR was not the friend of that organization,
Yes.
they wouldn't show up
Exactly.
the whole morning, the whole night
Exactly.
to launch the product that they were doing, or rather the system upgrade that it was going through. So it therefore means that we really need to come out the way Kalechi has come out to demystify that. Because at the end of the day, as we have said, as we form policies, we have ourselves in mind.
Yes,
It's going to affect us. I might be HR today, but the very policy that I will use on redundancy on a non-HR will be used on me. Because you also talked about how redundancy affected you as a HR in the past. And if you had created a policy that was punitive to other people and not HR, then you would be blamed for it.
I would be sure.
And it would also affect you in a way that you will regret. So at the end of the day, it is, we are making policies for us, and it ought to benefit us also, even as we advance. So you mentioned about clearly here HR and AI integration. So it has to be a blend. And I'm happy that you're mentioning that AI is, you're not worried that AI is going to take your job. At the end of the day, I wouldn't be speaking to AI to tell me about HR. It had to be Kalechi, a person, That's very, very beautiful. And thank you for mentioning the aspect of being the confident and being the person in the business. Question may arise there. So then, are you going to be autonomous in the role when now it seems that you have to be on the table with everyone? How do you maintain your autonomy as an HR so that you're not being now following the flow and not having independent?
Okay.
I know HR needs to be independent in some aspects. Tell us a little more about that.
So unfortunately, sometimes even for the HR to get on the table, you have to be invited. Sometimes you have to wait for the invite. I have worked somewhere where I would know they have night events, but I wasn't aware. No one told me. And I really felt inadequate for the 4 years I worked for that organization. I really felt inadequate. At some point when now they changed and then they brought in a new CEO. Okay, the older CEO, I told him, okay, why are you guys not involving me in these events? I want to know. And then he says, there was something they were launching at the time. He said, no, it's too complicated for you to grasp. But I'm thinking, okay, I'm just there for staff, to understand, to learn. So when a new CEO came, he said, okay, we will include you. But by the time I left, a year after the new CEO came in, I had not yet been put as somebody who can sit at the table, but I did sit in the management in the management call, and I would grasp, and if when I was asked about the trajectory of the organization, I would articulate. So how do we maintain our autonomy? The policies are like the Bible of the HR. You have whatever you do for this person, you have to do for this person.
Awesome.
Whatever you make the decision, it's called precedence. If I tell the CEO, no, you are being silly on this, then I should be able to tell the office assistant the same thing. It's supposed to apply across the board. So autonomy is also, okay, somebody there is saying how they almost beat up a client who could not comply. It's me, the HR, to maybe not blast them in front of everyone. Is to tell them, no, if this person reports you, then we have legal issues or it's a disciplinary case.
Okay.
So it is to follow through what the policy says. It is to also keep your head level. There are some things that you need to advise from a very strategic standpoint. And when I said you have to understand the business, then that's how now your advice can come in. But follow policies, follow precedents, you're good to go. The autonomy is maintained.
Awesome. Awesome. Next, I would like us to talk about culture in the workplace. I know that is a very, very sensitive matter. That culture is not what is written on paper. Culture is behavior. Then how do we bring about a good culture in an organization now that it is lived personal behavior? Yeah.
When you talk about culture, let me talk about trust.
Okay.
for culture to exist, trust must exist. And I was called a people and culture manager just a short few months ago. I manage people and culture for an organization in the entire East Africa. But this is my thought. In as much as you'd call the HR a culture ambassador, where is it coming from? The leadership. It's the leadership, is the managers that have to define what's culture before the HR now takes it and continues packaging it and implementing it and making it into a very beautiful thing.
Yes.
There is no way you can call a HR culture and then demand that she starts a culture, she or he starts a culture that you alone, you yourself are sabotaging.
Yes.
And when I talk about it's about trust. Like, how am I talking to my staff? How am I treating them? How am I implementing policies? Am I across the board? Am I encouraging gossip? Gossip is something that really breaks culture in an organization. It breaks trust. It breaks families to an extent. And I've seen the damage gossip can do at the workplace.
Yes.
And disclaimer, I like listening to gossip. It is the only way the HR will work.
Interesting.
It is one way, not the only way. One way the HR will work to determine what is it that people are saying.
Then it explains why people say these walls have ears.
Yes. But it is not strategic for the HR not to act on each and everything that comes to the desk. But it will help you make decisions in terms of, okay, what do I need to change in the policy? What do I need to do when I'm treating, I'm working with a certain person? So, of course, there was gossip that somebody was being abused by the husband, and it was so bad that at some point she came with a bandage on or she had so many, this was years ago in government. Her file was this big, not because of anything good, because of warning letters. She just could not get along with anyone. So the story was the husband was doing ABCD, ABCD. Of course, it's gossip. Okay, now we sit and wait. But you see now on the face of HR, we are seeing her in discipline. We are seeing we are offering her psychosocial. Okay, back then there was no psychosocial support. We were not talking into like mental health in this space. We were not into coaching and mentoring back then. So, but what we see is her fighting in the office. What we see is her apparently, I don't know, hitting somebody's side mirror in the parking lot. But when we went to a retreat, somebody had her shout. The bedroom, like she was at the balcony of a hotel, and then somebody seated there. Thank God it was the right person who had the entire conversation. So I was wondering if somebody would go and now make this a story. And this person came and told me, you know what, I discovered. Of course, there's no evidence. It's me who had. She's going through this and this. And the husband that apparently has thrown her out of the house and this and this and this. So we started trying to, be a friend to her. Okay, it worked for a very short while, but, she resigned. And sorry, but also HRs are happy when somebody resigns who was problematic. So she left. She resigned. And you see, when so I encourage this culture that people can, gossip. And believe me, when you come to me I will sit and I will listen.
To the juice.
But I will not use it against you. But I'll try and see, how is this building me? How is it helping me? Is it something that I need to ignore or not? But you won't hear me go to talk to somebody.
You're
of course,
one of a kind.
Yeah, because but I have. I'm not saying I've not. What I did was I got frustrated by somebody. So I went to, and I found myself, I was sharing a desk with the IT manager. So after this call, I started ranting. But thank God this guy is mature and he listened through my rant. And I didn't mention name. I just told him, what wengine wanafanyanga? Other people do this, they don't care. He listened to my rant and I did it more than once. But this is like a few months before I resigned from that position because it was really draining me. Culture is built from trust.
Okay.
And if there's a team building activity, this team building facilitator has to have one activity that would show a lesson in trust. There's one where maybe somebody can free fall, make sure to see whether the teammates will hold them, to see if somebody can take instructions from somebody. But culture is not a singular responsibility. It's not the HR's responsibility.
Okay.
It has to start from the start. So for the HR who's joining a new organization, please try and carry out an engagement survey. This engagement survey will guide you to understand where the culture is at that moment. But this survey, it's not, of course, have it anonymous. In fact, having a third person do it for you is a great idea.
All right.
So when you get these results, develop an action plan.
Okay.
When we realize that maybe somebody said my manager does not respect personal space, or my manager, I don't trust my manager, I do not have a friend at the workplace, then work on those things. Of course, sadly, you're not telling these people, Wewe, you go and love this person. You're not forcing issues.
Exactly.
But have activities, ideas that can bring people together. And to do that, you can only do from the management angle. You as a HR, you cannot carry out cultural activities by yourself.
Awesome.
It has to be informed and led from a higher place.
Wow.
Yeah.
This then throws a very interesting part. And I would say this carefully, because you realize that the tone at the top, by the time it gets down, it's been misinterpreted. So the information I get at the ground, assuming we are the junior people in the organization, so the tone that is being set, for example, working in a global organization where it has the regionals, which is global, and then you come to the Africa region, to East Africa region, and then Kenya. So if information about culture, if how a culture of an organization has been structured at the top is totally different from what I experience as a person. How does that? How do we make sure that what is being said is actually being done? Because you could set the tone at the top very okay. In fact, an organization, someone might see the character and habits of a CEO on a level as of an observer, they would want to work in a certain place.
Yes.
But if you come to the real thing on the ground, where in the say, vitu kwa ground ni tofauti in Kenya, that's our language. You experience a totally different thing. What do you have to say about that?
I would say it's normal. It happens.
Yeah.
But sometimes the HR is a deflector. You're the one who's supposed to now change the narrative. Not really explain, no, the CEO didn't mean that. Or no, the head of... I remember there's a of course not mentioned in the workplace, where the person who was managing HRs in Africa mentioned that she really hates Africa. She said... she's not in our race. She's not of our race. She mentioned she hates Africa. But she didn't mean that she hates the people. Yeah? For her, it was maybe the weather, the food. She's not used to that. That's what she meant. But now it got to every staff, and then they were thinking, okay, why is the regional HR saying how they don't like us? You see, so that's a misinterpretation.
Yes.
So with time, when you try to change that narrative, you also seem to be the one who's also promoting, and maybe you're also being... sorry to say, racist. You don't want to really listen to your people. You want to listen to these people who are saying that they hate Africa. But she did not mean that she hates the people. It's her experience. For her, it was the weather at the time, because she was sweating. She kept fanning herself, and then there's no wind in that country. There's no single leaf that is blowing, and it was a wrong season. It's dry. That's what she meant.
Okay.
So sometimes you can just let it burn. Yeah? Sometimes you pick your battles, just let it burn. Sometimes if you can't, try and correct the narrative.
All right.
But when you're correcting the narrative, make sure that this person who shared that information knows that this was not what was intended. Let them know, so that you don't also encourage the culture of gossip and hearsay and backstabbing and people misinterpreting what has been said.
All right.
But the main thing is act on it as soon as possible.
All right.
Don't let it fester. As long as if you are to let it burn, let it burn. But if you are to do something about it, don't let it fester for a long time. Just deal with it on on the nail
All right.
as it is.
Okay.
There's a lecturer I used to have who would believe as a HR you have to recruit a mole and a parrot.
Oh my.
So this is a tip for HR.
Yes.
If you want to implement a policy and you don't know how people will take it, maybe leave a document on your desk for the cleaning girl to come and see. Then she will go to the others and say, hey, I have heard this and this is happening. This is happening. They're going to do this. They're going to give, they're going to add a new benefit. They're going to change a supplier or a vendor. They're going to move our offices. This is just one example of placing a document, but you can also just try and talk to somebody who you know is a parrot. So when this news is in the domain, of course you control it. There's a way you can control. Just, there's really sensitive information, don't share.
Yes.
But something like this that, impacts. And then now the mole in the workplace will come to you and say, I have heard people discussing that you guys want to move our offices.
Exactly what you needed
what are
to
they
hear.
saying? Then this person would say, because, they're happy talking to HR is a friend.
Yes.
They're happy to, and then now you'll know, am I implementing this thing or not?
All right.
It's not even a HR strategy, it's a leadership strategy.
Awesome.
Try and see, you can just throw in some grains, see how far they will go.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, on the part of culture, again, we're still going back there. It's very interesting how we still have very good policies, and we expect that a great culture should be something that attracts people to come, that you would be able to pinpoint a good culture before you come in.
Yeah.
How do you yourself as an HR, when you're sourcing for another organization you want to work for, what's the tip that you use to know this is a culture that I want to fit in? Or how do you say, no, this one culture doesn't fit, so I'm not going?
All right.
Yeah.
So my supervisor better not see that I'm looking at other organizations.
No,
my
we are
supervisor
just,
by
just
the
sharing
way.
tips.
I love my supervisor. She gives me the independence I need. So shout out to her. She's
Nice.
from Botswana. So what I look at is there's a site called there's a website you can search organizations. And sometimes there are people that have given
Would
reviews.
it be Glassdoor?
Glassdoor.
All right.
Thank you. So people have given reviews. That's one. Number two, there is hearsay. So for example, I'm part of the Nairobi NGO Roundtable, also a group that is doing big things. So the Nairobi NGO Roundtable, we had a meeting, I think the week we had the launch, it's 3 weeks ago. And then there's this organization I've always wanted to work for. I will not say the name. So there's a friend who had left another key organization. Like when we asked in the group what benefits you're giving your people, she's always giving us a list of very awesome, like second to heaven benefits. So, and then now she moved to this organization. And then she appeared to be like, she is in a shell. She's not the verbal person she was. She goes like, this place has so many politics. And she would repeat politics. But we also spoke about so many other organizations in that roundtable, represented by the HRs there. So that's one way of knowing a good culture or not. The third one would be, how does that job advertisement look like? For example, I'm in a space where I'm looking for remote roles.
Yes.
I am key with remote organizations like international remote or regional remote. I'm okay with that. Not that I don't like going to the office, but I have my reasons. But I don't mind a hybrid setup where one day I'm at home, 2 days I'm at the office. I don't mind.
Yes.
But when you look at some organizations, then you can notice there's a little bit of flexibility. When they say remote or hybrid, you know there's flexibility.
Yes.
So now that's a sign of a good culture.
Okay.
When you look at the reporting structure of that job description, is it well detailed? Is it well structured? You can get an advertisement where a role is probably called a human resource manager, but the pay down there is 30,000, but the tasks are mountains. For example, you can get a role that you're being asked, they usually call it human resource and finance manager. human resource and procurement coordinator, that's a bad sign. So how are we titled? Are we being respected as a profession in
Awesome.
HR? Are the tax and responsibility, are you telling me to keep a petty cash as a HR? And I've worked in an NGO where I was doing procurement and I hated it, but I stayed there for a year and 4 months. I was also doing procurement, and then when it comes to performance appraisal and being checked against procurement instead of against what I have done in HR. So that's a sign of a bad culture.
Awesome.
As well as reporting lines. Who is this role reporting to?
Okay.
You place yourself appropriately. If it's HRO, are you reporting to a HR manager? If it's HR clerk, am I reporting to a HR officer or HR manager, etc.? So where is the hierarchy? If the HR, I'm reporting to a finance, no, that's a bad sign.
Okay.
HR reporting to an operations manager,
No.
HR to a CEO, yes, that's a good thing. HR to a
Awesome.
COO, because your CEO, they're across the board, then
Yes.
that's a good.
Awesome.
Yeah. So those are some of the things I consider.
That's a beautiful tip. And I know a person who is listening to us would be able to see that and also place it in their own roles and be able to know that if I am combining a project manager and a product manager, which one would you be doing? Those are two different things. And if you have to do both roles, then that is. So that means the culture there is overworking people.
Exactly.
Compensating less for more. Interesting. That's beautiful. Now we are going to the other part of culture, toxicity and narcissistic leaders. I know that's quite a mouthful. Yeah, so how come even in places where there are good policies, a non-tolerating bullying kind of policy is there, but people are still experiencing toxicity and bullying at workplace? Why is bullying in the workplace very rampant? Yeah.
Because the same challenges you have out there, these people that you're having clashes with are also at the workplace. You also have narcissists at the workplace.
Yes.
So I was listening to a video somebody had recorded, Becky Guitar on Facebook. She had talked about narcissism. How is it developed? So her view was it's like a trauma response, like something that you went through when growing up, or how you were raised. For example, raised as a princess.
Yes.
So at the workplace, when somebody tells you no, you react. I have mentioned about a supervisor I had who I will not gossip with. So because of I would not gossip with, then she made it a habit of looking for issues against me. So the situation turned very toxic. And then I'd like to tell people who think that, they deserve the entitled group of people at the workplace. That's not your job. It's not... you do not know what somebody is working. Why am I working in that place? What am I using my income for?
Oh, yes.
So sometimes you have to remember that you're not in competition. Can you imagine somebody who's in a different department?
Yes.
Treating the HR as competition.
Yes.
While you're not even in the same profession. Toxicity in the workplace now comes in terms of that competition I've talked about.
Yes.
It comes in, yes, it is good to promote people internally. It's a good idea. But try and balance inbreeding and getting somebody from out.
Oh, okay.
Just try and balance it, because if you continue promoting this person, they're growing through the system. It's a good thing, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but check on the salient, give feedback where are they getting along with people? Have they even gone back to school to get additional skills? Have they worked through these promotions? Is the promotion on merit, or is it how famous somebody is?
Okay.
That's another cause of toxicity in the workplace, where you are joining and then somebody tells you, but this is how we always do things.
Things are always done here this way.
Where are you coming from? This is how we do things. Toxicity also comes from entitlement.
Yes.
The HR that was there before was laissez-faire. Like, I don't care what is happening. But now a new HR comes in and says, you guys have to be at your desk by 9. You have to leave the workplace at 5. You have to take standard lunch breaks. And then you start revolting because you're saying even the HR that was there before used to do. For me, I used to hate comparison. In fact, there was a workplace I was the first local HR, local as in African HR. The ones that were before me were expatriates.
Okay.
And at some point, I'm being told, can you ask what that HR, I'm being asked, can you ask that? And she's seated in another country, she already left. I'm being asked to ask her how the law, what the law says about a certain aspect. I'm thinking, but I'm here, I'm local, I'm trained in the Kenyan labor laws. I know, I understand.
Yes.
Or a staff would say, years ago we used to have a better culture, but this is an instigator of bad culture in the first place. So that comparison, it brings toxicity.
Okay.
And then I had already mentioned gossip and
gossip is part
there's
of
slander
it,
as well. Is also a sign of a toxic environment.
Awesome.
Where you're just seated having a good time, somebody just comes and tell you something random that is not even related to your work, and then you're trying to, okay, let me not react. Because, as a HR, you have to serve everyone, even those that do not believe in your faith or do not, believe in religion. You don't place, if you're in a staff, okay, that one is another point. I'll come back to that.
All right.
So when you listen, then you're wondering, okay, what is this person's mindset? What are they actually doing? So I had noticed in a group of people that those that were troublesome grew through the system. They joined as interns. They got their promotions through the system. Then they had some complexities. If I compare with people that had joined in their immaturity in their profession, those were different.
Wow.
Much as I have said, I don't hate promotions, but this is one thing that we need to check.
Yes.
The other one is the person, another form of is when you feel as a HR or as a leader or as a manager, the others are sinners. I have friends who don't drink, who do not take alcohol. But when you go out with them, you'll actually think they're the ones that are drinking. Because they are helping you, watching over you, they are dancing, they are happy. Why don't you adopt that culture as a leader? Don't just sneer at person who decide to take a beer. You're sneering at them because your faith does not allow you, or you're too religious enough to ignore that other people have their own beliefs. They have their own lives to live.
Yeah, they have choices.
They have made their own choices.
Yes.
And I love supervisors or managers that, when there's a staff party, they will not judge. If they know they will judge, they will leave the party early. Because, people will drink and they will come and, Mwalimu Kingangi, that skit he does about a staff party, where somebody, the finance person, gets drunk and goes and asks the CEO, do you know how much money I have? Because they are high, These things are allowed. As long as it has not turned violent, it has not endangered somebody's life, or it's not cutting out our income, like the company is not folding because what somebody has done at the workplace.
Awesome.
Or it's not illegal, they're not bringing drugs to their staff party.
Okay.
Just gelling. Because if you are too... Okay, maybe if I'm serving staff that are too spiritual, can I enter into that space?
Yes.
If I'm serving staff that are not too spiritual or they are from other religions, can I get into that space?
So that means you really need to be accommodative.
Yes. If I get into a meeting, can I tell a Muslim, please pray for us before we start the meeting? Can I be accommodative? I think those are some of the key issues where toxicity exists. And also in a workplace, if they don't understand you, staff don't understand you, then you'll be the butt of all jokes. At some point, I know there's somewhere I worked where I felt like they hated me. Because much as I'm a HR and I'm talking so gloriously about this very, very good profession, I'm also an overthinker. Yes. I'm also an overthinker who's living through some form of trauma. So for me to even, why is that girl not talking to me? Why did she say that in the staff meeting? why did I blast somebody? Why did my anger
Self-sabotaging
come out?
behavior
Yeah.
just
So why
showed
did my
up
anger come out in
that
that
way.
management?
Uh-huh.
Okay, even though that one time my anger came out in a management call, that person learned to respect me because she was just being disrespectful. So I it ended. So that was one way.
Yeah.
But by the time I left the meeting, you can be assured I was hot and what did I just
Fanning
do?
yourself.
But it worked. Yeah, so those are the key where toxicity comes from.
Wow. You have spoken a very interesting one. I had not looked at it that way. That people who have grown themselves through the system are responsible for the toxic behavior a lot of times, not all the time, a lot of times. And it reminds me of my own experience that this person, they are called vintage employees. They have literally survived all CEOs that have ever been. That is their first employer, and they are nearing their sunset years in the same workplace. Such that, and of course, I'm tying it back to the aspect of what really HR plays in terms of many things that usually happens. So in my own experience, these are people who really knew the system too well, to the point that if you're pointing out something in a team meeting, they would openly tell you, by there, go report me to HR, so and so is waiting to receive your feedback. Honestly, I said at that point, I had an intention of raising a concern, and I even got access to HR. But remembering what they said, I went to see the HR. I changed my mind what I wanted to speak about. Yeah, but that was self-sabotaging behavior. Because look, I had an open door to the HR because I had a way of interacting with them. They know me as a person, and so when I went there, I was really itching to raise a concern because it was deeply affecting me. I had slowly started behaving in such a way that family was concerned. I wasn't sleeping well. There's a time I woke up at 3 a.m. That's abnormal for me. I woke up and did not sleep. So the next time my spouse wakes up, finds me seated. And then he didn't tell me anything. But later, when we were having our own conversation, he says, "This is not you. You have never woken up before me in our entire life together. What's really going on?" So you see, it had really affected me to that level. But then when I'm going to HR, of course, I had other things to do. There was something good I wanted a sponsorship for. So right when I'm seated and HR is so excited to see me, and I started lobbying for that sponsorship I wanted, and did not speak of the very things that were really affecting me because of that. Because it felt like there's really nothing I'm going to do. This person already has showed me that HR will do nothing about me. It's a painful thing. To date, yes, I have healed from it because I'm out of that place. But it shows that there is a way bad culture can really affect organization. So you see, missed the opportunity of rescuing other people in the team because I did what? I chickened out. Which if only I had spoken about that time, perhaps something could have been done about it. So it's a learning lesson for all of us when you're experiencing toxicity at workplace, that surely HR is not your enemy. Clearly. Perhaps that is also the notion that had been implanted in my mind, that HR is not your friend. Because that is the conversation that we tell each other here. You go and see what happens in social media. They'll tell you, HR is not your person.
Yeah.
They are not your friends. So how do I approach a person who I've already been warned that they are not my friend? And that is also a part of why bullying and even bullying still rampant.
Yes.
Because we are not identifying real issues as real issues in HR. So in your opinion, how does HR balance out now these people who have grown through the system that are even older than you as the HR? How do you handle them to make sure that they are not continuing the negative culture in an organization?
But it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
It is not easy. Because it's already ingrained in them that they deserve, that they're entitled, that they deserve to even get the promotion.
Yes.
I have gotten in trouble for denying somebody a role. For her, she had lobbied the manager advertising the role, staff even within, but staff are encouraging her, yeah, you go for it. Yeah, in fact, talk to the HR's
I
manager,
know.
tell them that you want this position, that the HR is telling you you're not fit for it. But just stand your ground. And that's what I did. And of course, it did not turn out well. To an extent that I would call this staff to ask for one thing or another, she had blocked me. And we're in the same organization. That she would pass me on the corridor or even just smile because, she's, to get to my desk, I had to go through hers. And just stand your ground.
Okay.
Just remind people of policy. What does the policy say about promotions? It's on merit. Yes, I have advertised externally, but I will not consider you because these tasks are not. But I helped. No, helping is different from you actually doing the work. Then the qualifications are not fit.
Yes, yes.
So it is just basically you just stand your ground and then remind them of policy. I know I've been talking a lot about policies.
Yes.
But I'm wondering. I'm wondering if I keep talking about policy, but that's in essence that's the Bible.
Yes.
That's technically the Bible of the HR.
So does that mean that there are people who sometimes HR are not able to act?
Yes.
On some instances.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
On some instances, it is not difficult, or you even become you become the enemy. Yeah, but entitlement can go together with toxicity. And that in breeding is not always a good idea.
Wow.
It's not always a good idea.
Okay. Yeah. That's so nice. So nice to know. And I'm happy that we've really talked about the toxicity in workplace because that's what many people are really going through. Some are able to speak about them openly.
Yeah.
Some in our social media platforms would say, one day I'll tell them off. So you're wondering, where will you tell them off?
Yeah, where's the platform?
Yeah, that is self-sabotaging. You need to really stand your ground and you need to advocate and speak for yourself. Use the fora that has been provided. And that we need to know that don't come to HR as you've explained, which I've really loved.
Yes.
Don't come with a defeated mindset that even if I come, there is nothing you're going to do. Because already you are speaking negatively and you're going to attract exactly that. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that HR is not your friend. When it's not true.
It's not
because
true.
You see, in my case where I chickened out, I'm very sure that HR would have done something about it if I had, if only I had proceeded with my agenda. Yes. So that is very beautiful how we can still manage. And of course, there are places where you can do nothing about their culture. And of course, as we say, wisdom is know when to leave. Yeah, knowing when to leave is very, very important. Right.
Yeah.
So then we will end our conversation on that bit at this point. And I'm so glad that we have had this conversation because right now, the conversation we started, people have gotten somehow a little more tips from what we missed in the other
and even
conversation.
To say, many were asking which organization is this that I'm working for. They want to, so it's not a single organization. This is the mindset of a HR. In fact, I'm praying that this interview gets listened to.
Yes.
By as many HRs as possible.
Yes.
I don't have a grasp on it. Believe me, I'm not that perfect HR. I know I'm not. But if we do this thing, you know, remember we are HR. You know, human first. Then we can get good testimonies.
Awesome. Thank you for that.